We're about to be joined by Senator Marsha Blackburn at the top of the next hour, who had clearly the most eye-opening interaction with Ketanji Brown Jackson, the judge who is up for the Supreme Court seat to replace Justice Breyer. And if you missed that earlier this week, Marsha Blackburn asked a simple question: can you define a woman? Listen to this.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
I'm not a biologist, which is going to go viral. Now, this also was used by Judge Jackson to respond to a question about unborn babies. I'm not a biologist, I think is going to go viral, by the way, because, this is pretty crazy. But this is her tagline. Let's listen to this as well.
No one suggests that a 20-week-old fetus can live independently outside the mother's womb, do they?
I don't know.
I mean, the child will need to be fed or sheltered and all the other essentials to sustain human life. So there's no suggestion that after 20 weeks that a child can live independently, correct?
Senator, I'm not a biologist. I haven't studied this. I don't know.
I mean, this is amazing, by the way. I'm not a transportation expert, but I'm pretty sure that carjacking is a really bad thing. I mean, I don't know how to build a car, Clay. I'm not a mechanic, but I oppose carjacking.
The fact that this would be the fallback line, I'm not a biologist. You're asked to define a woman, all right? Men have penises, women have vaginas. I just gave you a pretty good, sorry to if you missed biology, that's a pretty easy answer, right? You don't have to be a biologist to know the difference between a man and a woman, and you don't have to be a biologist to have some sense, certainly, for a judge who understands and had to study as a law student and has had to, look, I know the Roe v. Wade standard, right? I'm a lawyer. I had to learn it. I had to understand what the Supreme Court did. I just despise when we know that people are lying to us. I'm not a biologist is a lie, and it is brought to bear, Buck, because the Democratic Party is so enthralled right now in the grasp of the transgender, what would you even call them? Like the transgender army, the transgender interest group, that they are terrified of saying something that could offend them. This is why we have to have people, Google now. You can Google, can men get pregnant? And they will tell you yes. There's a pregnant man emoji that you can get on your phone. Men can't have babies. Like, this is crazy. Like, we have to say, you want to talk about biology? I mean, these are fundamentally false scientific facts that aren't allowed to be said because they might offend someone who is likely to vote for you.
The left, the Democrat Party, the activists pick these fights, by the way. They like to do this thing now of, while people are suffering in Ukraine, you're sitting here talking about how we refer to you as menstruating people instead of women. It's like, that is the worst kind of whataboutism and deflection. It's so obvious, but this is what they do. They pick these fights. They pushed for the trans swimmer Lia Thomas, for the NCAA to bend the knee. They made all this stuff happen. We are reacting to their madness, and this is good. Going into a midterm, people need to know. They need to understand. This is not a fringe belief. When Ketanji Brown Jackson, who's going to be on the Supreme Court here soon, when she refuses to define what a woman is, this shows the country that to be considered a left-wing intellectual person in public life in good standing with the Democrat Party, you must pretend you don't know what a woman and a man is. You must obey the final commandment from Orwell's 1984 that you reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. That is what is required of libs today.
Buck, this Lia Thomas case, I was reading the Daily Wire, had an interview with one of the female swimmers who was at the University of Kentucky. She said Lia Thomas came into the women's locker room and still has male genitalia. So you tell me, what person out there who has ever competed in athletics thinks it is appropriate for women who are in a locker room getting dressed to compete as swimmers naked, and a dude walks in with male genitals because he identifies as a woman and changes in the locker room beside them? I mean, this is madness.
This is also the point that I like to make about how it's always about courtesy and kindness. Courtesy and kindness should always be a guiding principle for everything that we do, but it can't be a one side. It's only, certain people deserve courtesy and kindness, so do whatever they want, bend to their policies, bend to their needs. Can you imagine, Clay, if you're the father of one of the girls in the locker room and there's the Lia Thomas changing? I mean, if a guy walked in,
that's a crime
to that locker
in almost every jurisdiction. If a guy walks in and he is identifying as a man and he starts to get naked in a women's locker room, he gets arrested. That's a crime everywhere.
And just to be clear now, whether it's at college age or even down to high school and junior high, now they do this. They have these policies in some schools.
It's crazy.
You're a bigot, they say, if you oppose this. These people, look, we say it all the time. We're not exaggerating, folks. The left has lost its mind, and this is just one of the manifestations of lunacy. The people that think that triple masking alone in a park by themselves are being scientific also think that Lia Thomas should be the NCAA swim champion. There's a direct correlation here.
Think about that. It's a crime unless you tell people, oh, I'm identifying as a woman now. Like, how does that make sense that a naked man can be in a locker room with women because he identifies as a woman?